Washington spent 4 years tightening its chip export controls. It took one shipment of 50 servers to expose the hole in all of them. This is the paper trail that connects a Taiwan port raid to a $2.5 billion federal indictment and what it reveals about the one supply chain everyone assumed was watertight. On July 1st, a court in Keelung, Taiwan, ordered 3 technology executives held without bail. 2 were managers at Supermicro Computer's Taiwan branch, identified in local reporting as Wang and Lin. The third was Kevin Liu, general manager of Albatron Technology, one of Taiwan's most active authorized distributors of American tech hardware. Bloomberg reported that prosecutors argued there was a real risk of flight and collusion if the 3 were released. The charges were not for chip smuggling. Taiwan does not have a law that makes shipping banned AI chips to China a crime. Prosecutors built the case on document forgery and breach of trust instead. That gap between what everyone assumes is illegal and what is actually written into law is the entire story here, and it did not start on July 1st. To understand why this matters, you need to know what was supposed to stop it. Since October 2022, the United States has barred the sale of its most advanced AI chips to China. Chips like Nvidia's H100, H200, and now GB300, on the grounds that they could accelerate Chinese military AI development. The restriction does not just cover raw silicon, it covers the servers built around those chips, because a rack of GPUs is functionally useless without the systems that connect and power them. Companies that assemble those servers, like Supermicro, are supposed to verify where their hardware ends up. Distributors are supposed to check the paperwork. Export controls only work if every single link in that chain holds. On May 20th, Taiwan's Coast Guard, working with prosecutors from the Keelung District Prosecutor's Office, intercepted 50 Nvidia GB300-equipped Supermicro servers at a Taiwan port. Alongside the hardware, they seized roughly 9 million new Taiwan dollars, about 280,000 US dollars in cash. 3 men were detained on the spot. According to reporting from the Epoch Times and Taipei Times, prosecutors said the men knew the servers were subject to strict US controls and were prohibited from sale to China, Hong Kong, and Macau, but bought them in Taiwan anyway and arranged to route them onward. What happened next is exactly what a functioning export regime is supposed to prevent. On June 29th, prosecutors expanded the case dramatically. They raided 12 locations in a single sweep, 6 private residences and the offices of 3 companies: Supermicro's Taiwan branch, Albatron Technology, and a data center operator called Chief Telecom. The number of people under investigation grew from 3 to 9. That is confirmed independently by both Bloomberg and Tom's Hardware, citing AFP reporting from the scene. Albatron's stock fell 10% in Taipei trading the day the raids became public. Chief Telecom slipped more than 2%. In the United States, Supermicro's own shares dropped roughly 8%. Now here is where the official story and the verified facts start to diverge. What the court filings and reporting establish clearly, 2 Supermicro Taiwan employees and the Albatron general manager are in custody, held on suspicion of forging shipping documents to disguise the server's true destination. 2 additional Supermicro employees were questioned and released on bail. All 3 companies say they are cooperating with authorities and have not been charged as corporate entities. Only individuals connected to them have been charged. What remains genuinely unresolved is where those 50 servers were actually headed. Prosecutors have named China, Hong Kong, and Macau as suspected destinations, but no Wangasime confirmed endpoint has been established in reporting available so far. The question nobody has answered yet is how many similar shipments were never intercepted at all. It is also worth being precise about something that gets blurred in a lot of coverage of this story. This Taiwan case is not the same legal proceeding as a separate, larger one in the United States. back on March 19th, federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York unsealed an indictment against Supermicro co-founder Wally Liaw, known as Wally, along with two co-conspirators. According to NBC News and Fortune, the indictment charges them with routing approximately $2.5 billion worth of Nvidia H200 and B200 equipped servers through shell companies in Southeast Asia. Of that total, roughly $510 million in servers were confirmed to have actually reached China. Liaw faces up to 20 years in prison. One of his alleged co-conspirators, a man named Chang, remains a fugitive. Two separate legal proceedings, an ocean apart, both tracing back to the same pattern: banned Nvidia hardware moving through Supermicro's supply chain, ending up somewhere it is not supposed to be. Nvidia itself has been publicly uncomfortable with this. The company's chief executive officer, Jensen Huang, told reporters at Taipei's Songshan Airport back in May that the company insists its partners follow U.S. trade rules and said he hoped Supermicro would strengthen its compliance controls. That is a notable thing for a chief executive officer to say about a company he does billions of dollars of business with. Supermicro responded with an open letter on July 1st, stating, and this is a direct quote from the company's chief revenue officer, Matt Thauberger, that the company has zero tolerance for anyone who violates the law or our internal policies. All 4 Taiwan employees who were questioned have been placed on administrative leave pending the case's outcome. Albatron suspended its general manager immediately after his detention. But here is the part nobody covering this story wants to sit with. Taiwan is the physical hub of the global AI hardware supply chain. Nearly every advanced chip in the world passes through the island in some form before it reaches a data center anywhere on Earth. And as of this case, Taiwan does not have a law on its books that makes exporting a banned AI chip to China a criminal act. This is a commercially available product story, not a prototype. These are shipping retail hardware systems. Prosecutors had to reach for forgery and breach of trust charges because the actual export violation is not something Taiwanese courts can prosecute directly. There is reportedly a Foreign Trade Act amendment under discussion that would close that gap, but it has not passed. For anyone wondering what this changes day to day, it does not move consumer GPU or RAM prices directly. If you are buying a graphics card or a laptop right now, this case does not make them cheaper or more expensive. The ongoing DRAM shortage is a separate supply story driven by AI demand pulling memory capacity away from consumer products. This smuggling case is a legal and enforcement story. For the broader industry, the immediate effect is reputational. Supermicro, already under pressure from accounting concerns in prior years, now faces a second front of credibility questions. For investment, Supermicro shares dropped 8% on the raid news alone, and the March indictment wiped more than $6 billion from the company's market capitalization in a single trading session. Neither case has reached trial. Nothing has been proven in court, but the exposure is real and priced in. Geopolitically, this is a genuine stress test for Washington's export control strategy. The policy assumed that downstream partners in allied countries like Taiwan would enforce the rules even where U.S. law does not reach. This case is the clearest public evidence yet that the assumption does not hold everywhere, every time. The Center for New American Security estimates that between 10,000 and several hundred thousand export-controlled GPUs were smuggled into China in 2024 alone, with a median estimate of roughly 140,000 units. That is not a rounding error. That is potentially 10% of China's AI model training compute capacity arriving through the back door. This is not proof that the export control regime has collapsed. Most legitimate shipments almost certainly go where they are supposed to. But it is proof that the weakest link in the chain is not Chinese engineering catching up. It is paperwork, distributors, and a legal gap in a country everyone assumed had this covered. That is a less dramatic story than a breakthrough chip. There is no new technology here, no scientific achievement, no factory ribbon cutting, just forged documents, seized servers, and a law that does not exist. But that gap might matter more than any chip China builds this year. If Taiwan has no law that actually criminalizes shipping banned AI chips to China, and prosecutors have to fall back on paperwork fraud charges instead, how many other shipments never even got caught? Drop your take below. Silicon Brief covers the chip war with named sources and court filings, not speculation. Subscribe if that matters to you.